We have, on several occasions since our show debuted less than a month ago, reported on what has become the uniquely repressive censorship regime in Brazil, in which a single judge on the Supreme Court has ordered countless people, including elected members of Congress, journalists, analysts, activists, and a whole wide range of others, banned not from one social media platform, but from all social media platforms. And we have explained over and over why it is that this censorship regime is so uniquely threatening. And in fact, although this censorship regime has been overwhelmingly, not entirely, but overwhelmingly directed at the Brazilian right and supporters of former President Jair Bolsonaro, it is such an alarming censorship regime that even the New York Times, leading up to the election on two separate occasions, has issued warnings in the form of news reports about how excessive and unlimited this judge's powers have become. And we've reported on that before, but tonight there is a radical new escalation of the censorship regime in the form of a previously secret order that was issued just today. There's nothing about our show that is scripted. We learned of this order just a few hours ago. Spent most of our time consulting with specialists in Brazilian law, but also our own lawyers, to ensure that we are able to report on this. And I have to say, as somebody who has reported in multiple countries, confronted multiple governments, been threatened by governments, there has never been a case in my entire journalistic career where I found myself hesitating before criticizing a political official the way I find myself sometimes hesitating when I go to question or criticize the powers wielded by this one specific judge, Alessandro Demarish. That is how repressive and threatening by design this entire censorship regime is. It's not just about banning people from the internet. He has ordered members of Congress arrested, activists and journalists arrested with no trial. People are in exile out of fear of his orders. The entire time, many people, including myself, were concerned about authoritarianism from the Bolsonaro government, given his history, Jair Bolsonaro's history of anti-democratic statements. And there were acts of his government I consider authoritarian, including the government's attempt to imprison me for reporting I did in 2019. But just as happened in the United States, where institutions of power united in the name of stopping Donald Trump and concluded that everything and anything they do, no matter how authoritarian, is justified in the name of stopping Trump, Brazilian institutions, establishment institutions, have done the same in the name of stopping not just Bolsonaro, but the Bolsonaro movement, to the point where all kinds of censorship and imprisonment without due process and searches and seizures of people's homes are being done without even the pretense of due process. So let's get to this new order tonight. I will show you exactly what it says. We don't want to show you the hard copy of the order because oftentimes if you do that, it can reveal who the source is that provided it to you. And since the judge not only issued a repressive order, but within it ordered the targets of this order to keep secret what it was that he ordered them to do and gave them 2 hours to comply, we want to make sure to protect our sources. But as a journalist, I feel I have the right, that my lawyers made clear. It's not entirely 100% clear that I have it. I'm nonetheless taking it to report this and publicize this order, notwithstanding his demand that it be maintained in secrecy. I'm not a party to this order. He hasn't ordered journalists to do so, only these social media platforms. So I want to protect our source. We've translated the order from Portuguese, where it was obviously issued, into English, and I'm now about to show it to you in its full and complete form. So at the top, you can see it on the screen. It notes the investigation number of the case from the federal district, which is where the court is situated in Brazil. You see there the name of the judge, Minister Alessandro Demarish. He's one of the members of the Brazilian Supreme Court. And then author, prosecutor, investigator, and lawyer. It all says under legal secret. So not even the names of the people who brought this action, who are the lawyers involved. Everything is completely secret upon his order, including the contents of the order itself. Now, it's addressed to 6 different companies. Facebook, and specifically Facebook's company that is Brazilian in nature that operates Facebook in Brazil. That's number 1. Number 2, Rumble, which is the platform on which this show is aired and is currently airing exclusively. The third is Telegram, which is the service that is designed to ensure not only anonymity, but also to protect people's free speech rights from the attempt by authoritarian governments and authoritarian censors to silence them. The fourth is TikTok, the fifth is Twitter, and the sixth is YouTube. So 6 different companies, none of which is Brazilian other than the Brazilian version of Facebook. These are all foreign social media companies, and at least in the case of Rumble, Rumble has no ties to Brazil at all. It has no office in Brazil. It has no marketing campaigns that are aimed at Brazilians. Brazilians are allowed, like everyone else in the world, to join Rumble if they wish. There's a Brazilian program in particular from a very popular podcast host who became the topic of this order, but Rumble doesn't exist in Brazil. It has no bank accounts in Brazil. It has no physical offices in Brazil, and yet this order purports to compel not just Rumble, but all of these other companies to obey the censorship order of a single Brazilian judge. So he's not only acting as censor of Brazil, but apparently of the entire world. The order reads, Mr. Director, it's a loose translation, quote, this is the judge in his order. I hereby communicate to you that the following decision was made in the judicial action, the details of which remain under legal secret for immediate compliance. And you see there, immediate is in all capital letters, which is how it appears in the order itself. So we're not only ordering you to do this and keep it secret, but we're ordering you to comply immediately in the following terms. And here's what the order says, quote, considering the following facts, I hereby determine the expedition of legal communications to the company's Facebook, Rumble, Telegram, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube, so that within the deadline of 2 hours, he's given them 2 hours to obey, proceed with the blocking of the channels, accounts, and profiles listed below under the sanction of a daily fine of 100,000 Brazilian reais, which is roughly the equivalent of $20,000 a day, and the providing to the Supreme Court of the registration data associated with those accounts, as well as the maintenance of the contents. So the order directs these 6 companies to do 3 things. Number 1, immediately or generously within 2 hours, completely ban not specific posts that have been deemed illegal, but to ban the entire account, to prohibit all of these individuals from speaking on these platforms, whether or not they have violated the platform's rules themselves. That's the first command. Immediately ban all of these individuals from being able to speak on your platform, whether you want to or not. Number 2, provide to us all of the data associated with these accounts. Whatever information they provided to you, their address, their telephone number, their legal name, everything about them, we demand that you turn over to us. And then number 3, we require you to preserve the content of all of these accounts, to keep them, not allow them to be deleted. Even if the people want them deleted, you are required to preserve them all. And then, of course, embedded in that is a 4th command, which is, you may think this is really repressive, you may disagree vehemently with the order we're giving you, but you are nonetheless prohibited from disclosing publicly what we've demanded you to do. So presumably, if they obey the order and remove all of these people, some of whom are elected members of Congress in Brazil, others of whom are journalists and commentators and activists, if those people come and say, why did you just destroy my livelihood? Why did you just take down my page? Presumably, they're not allowed to say it's because we were ordered to by Judge Demarish. They're required to maintain complete secrecy about the censorship order itself. Now, here then come the list of all the accounts that... Thanks for watching this clip from System Update. Catch our full shows for free, live weekdays at 7 p.m. Eastern on Rumble, and join our locals community at greenwald.locals.com for all of my written journalism, exclusive after-show Q&As, and more.